the second 25-minute race is about to begin.
It is, so 14 cars we should have on the grid. Dominic Langdon Down is at the back of the field, and in the setting sun here at Brands Hatch, the lights are about to go out, and they do so. And it's a good start to the race by Charles Hall, I can see out of my commentary box window. He's up to about third place already, but it's Shane Stoney, I think, that is turning his way through Paddock Hill Bend first. And it's Pedro Oliveira second, Leon Morel third. Charles Hall is slotting into fourth position as they dive into Druids for the first time. Morel up the inside of Pedro Oliveira there, trying to get the second place away. They're in two different classes. Oliveira in a Class A car, Morel in a Class B car. A is for modified engines class or tuned engines. Class B is for production motorcycle race engines, and they are turning their way into the left-hander at Surtees for the first time then, and it's Morel. He's going to get up the inside of Oliveira here through Clearways. No, he's not. So it's Shane Stoney still leading, Oliveira in second, Leon Morel third, then a gap back to fourth position, which is Charles Hall.
Just had a word from Josh that it looks like Leon Morel is on wet tyres, whereas the rest of the field are on slicks. So that's going to be interesting indeed, because we can already see yeah, he is, because he's going for the wet part of the track there. So good call there, Josh. And yeah, you can see the dry line starting to appear. And this time of the day, with sun beating down on the majority of the circuit, I don't think that's going to play too well into Morel's hands here, but we'll have to wait and see.
He might be doing a tyre change at the pit stop, let alone anything else, because this is not looking like wet tyre conditions at all. It's going to eat those up, isn't it, surely, as the circuit dries. It's a 25-minute race as well, remember. It's not just a 10 or 15-minute race, it's 25 minutes. So the track, now with the sunshine on it, is probably going to be pretty much bone dry, I would think, by the end of this race. Stoney and Oliveira over the line to complete lap number 2. 7/10 of a second between them. Again, timing speed is not quite playing ball as we'd like it to today. It's giving us some slightly erroneous information at the moment. We'll sort that out in a minute. But it is, as we can see, Shane Stoney leading from Pedro Oliveira by about 2 or 3 car lengths as they turn their way through Druids. That time dropping down to Graham Hill Bend. Shane Stoney then hoping he sorted out those issues that plagued his first race, although it still meant that he was able to take a convincing victory. Oliveira in the Mittel in second, behind this central seat driving position, Radical PR6 of Shane Stoney. 2 central seat cars, first and second, and Leon Morel with those wet tyres on a drying track in third place. Yeah, Pedro Oliveira's keeping Shane Stoney quite honest at this stage in the race, and he's closing that gap actually as he works his way down towards Paddock Hill Bend, because he's just gone and done the quickest of anyone on a 48.116. So a fantastic lap there for Pedro Oliveira as he continues to close on the brakes in towards Druids Corner. Now these 2 cars are Class A cars, and the lap record is from 2 years ago from Scott Mattel, which is a 45.55. So we've still got 2.5 seconds to try and get to that, but pace at the minute is looking pretty good from these 2 out front. As Shane Stoney flicks left and right once again, heads in towards the right-hander of Clearways, and that car just kind of bobbling about through Clearways, and I think Mattel looks a little bit more settled through the end of the lap, but all of a sudden Shane Stoney now starting just to stretch his legs a little bit more. Yeah, he is, and he comes across the line that time. He's done a 47.5, so he's now got the best lap of the race, and he's extended his lead to 1.3 seconds. On screen now, watching Andrew Gord and Ross Drew. Andrew Gord in the number 60 car, Ross Drew in the number 117 car. Both of these SR3 RSXs, the drivers from Ringwood and Nottingham respectively. And just behind them as well, they've got Doug Carter in the number 5 Radical PR6 for the driver from Cumbria, and he is showing some impressive speed over the line. I thought he might be about to make a move into Paddock Hill Bend that time, but it wasn't quite to be. So 21 minutes of the race to go. We're watching the battle for 9th place here with now Ross Drew. He's going to go around the outside of Andrew Gord through Druids. No, doesn't quite work out, but he's going to have another go on the exit of the corner. This is going to put him on the outside line for Graham Hill Bend, and so Gord manages to hang on. The man up the road, Steve Larkham, was the man who was stuck pretty much behind Andrew Gord until, of course, they both had that little bit of an incident in towards Surtees through the first race. We've got a battle going on just off screen as well between Liam Morel and what's going to be Charles Hall, because Charles Hall has closed onto the back of the Class B leader, and Charles Hall has now gone through, I can tell you, on the run out of Druids Corner. So a good move there from the number 77 machine as they head downhill now in towards Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah, still watching this battle between Andrew Gordon and Ross Drew for 9th and 10th position, with Doug Carter there in 11th as well. But yeah, off screen, it's not a change for class position, of course, but Morel was struggling on those wet tyres. As up the inside, there's contact there, certainly between Ross Drew and Andrew Gordon. I think it's going to be Drew that's going to have the advantage coming out of the corner, is he, through the left-hander and then through the Graham Hill bend. Yep, it looks like the orange car has gone through that time. There's Charles Hall in the number 77 car, now through comfortably into 3rd position. He's pulled out
change for the lead as well.
1.3 seconds. Yes, there's a change of lead. Is that? Tell us about that.
Yep, but I didn't see it happen, but I did see Pedro Oliveira ahead. I looked at the screen and his fastest lap came up, and a gap I saw was 0.2 of a second. So, yeah, Pedro Oliveira has got his way through very nicely on Shane Stoney. I think we wouldn't really have thought to be saying that in this second race, especially after the gap he pulled out in that first race. But Pedro has gone through, and Shane Stoney again. Has he got a slight issue, or are these two cars on different tyres from one another as well?
Well, over the line they have gone, and it's Oliveira leading by 1.2 seconds over Shane Stoney now. And Oliveira has got the best lap of the race, 47.40. There you can see him on camera now, turning his way around the right-hander at Druids, dropping down towards Graham Hill Bend for the 8th time in this race. The pit window, by the way, is open. I don't think anyone's made it in yet. There is, I can see, well, at least one team has got some tyres seemingly out ready in pit lane as well for a tyre change maybe. So we'll keep an eye on that situation as well. But it's Shane Stoney chasing after Andrew Fido. There you can see the tyres ready in the pit lane on the inset picture there for those of you watching on the live stream. Over the line goes Hall. Over the line goes Oliver, and then Stoney is there in second. We think he's got the same problem as he had in the first race, and obviously in the wet, with the power being less significant on the wetter track, it was less of an issue, but now in the dry, that's really hurting him, and Oliveira is able to stretch his legs in the lead of the race.
Yeah, so 2.4 seconds back now is Shane Stoney, keeping an eye on what's happening down in the pit lane, but no takers as of yet with the pit window being open. But you would imagine if people feel they're on the wrong tyres, then you'd want to get in as early as possible. But for now, they all feel they can carry on as they are. Just looking at Leon Morel, he's now down into the 51s, whereas those around 49s or 48s. And we've got a couple into the pit lane, including Andrew Fido and also Stephen Larkham in the number 93 machine.
Yeah, so they are going to come into their pits. I don't think that either of those look like they're planning on changing tyres. So both of those I think are just going to need to be stationary for, well, actually for 30 seconds for Larkham. For Fido it's going to be 32 seconds because he's got the extra 2 seconds penalty to serve for finishing in 5th position in the opening race. So there's a good look at the number 12 car of Andrew Fido in the pit lane, and he is the 61-year-old garage and body shop owner from Western Supermare. Been racing in Bikesports since 2020. Did some karting in the 1970s. There's Steve Larkham. He's being sent back out into the race already, so his 30 seconds stationary has been done, and he's going to get back out into the race, and he's going to be actually just behind Andrew Fido, who at least theoretically has an extra 2 seconds to stop.
Up across the line will come now Charles Hall. What's he currently doing? Well, he's done his personal best lap time last time through. This time for Charles Hall, it's even quicker actually, a 48.2. I
think Morel's into the pit lane as well. Leon Morel, the Class B leader, into the pit lane here. Now, is this where we're going to see some fast work going on in the pits maybe? He's just heading in now, and our camera down there, it slots in. And they are going to put the car up on the jack. Yeah, they're going to try and do a tyre change here. So we're going to see those wet tyres coming off. It's not exactly the work of a Formula 1 pit stop, is it?
There's some weight behind that.
Yeah, car dropped down as well. And they're putting the slick tyres on. There's Josh Smith. He's helping to get that tyre change done. Frantic work to get the new slicks on. And they'll get Leon out into the race just as quickly as they can. He's got, because he finished 4th, 34 seconds to stop. I suspect he'll be stopped for a little longer than that, but of course the fact that there is a mandatory stop does at least play into their hands a little bit in that they're able to get this change done.
Yep, so it's a centre lock wheel nut, which is always handy because if you have the 5 spokes, it takes a lot longer. So they are now all done, and I think both the jacks are out front and back, and as soon as that time has elapsed, he'll be on his way. So it looked pretty good. Don't know how long he was in there extra, but it looked like it all went fairly to plan.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth, wasn't it? I thought so. That's good news for him. So he's back out into the race. So we'll see if he can keep hold of a Class B victory. So his lap there was a sort of 1 minute 20 was the sort of delta on the pit stop compared to 56s, 58s for other drivers. So he was probably stopped 20 seconds longer maybe than he would have been otherwise.
Yeah, so he's back out there, but he's on the now preferred tyre, which is a bonus for him. So he can now start to get those tyres up to temperature and have some brand new slicks on that car. Might bring him into the mix a little bit later on within the race. But for now, he has Shane Stoney to worry about behind him, and that is to possibly put him another lap down. But Shane is into the pits on this occasion as well.
Yep, so he's going to come in and serve his mandatory stop, as is Pedro Oliveira. So 2 drivers from first and second positions both coming in. Of course, Shane's going to be stationary for 40 seconds, Pedro for 38, and both of them, having those extended stops because of their success in the earlier race. So yes, certainly we can see that the first two drivers in sort of 56, 58 seconds, and then it was a longer stop for Morel, unsurprisingly, given that tyre change. Shane said he's getting a few words of advice as he is ready to go back out into the race. That's his dad there, Chris, having a word with him. Looks like there's also a change being done on number 2, which is Ross Board, because he was also on wet tyres and hoping to go back out into the race on slicks. There, back out into the race has gone Pedro Oliveira then, the driver that was leading the race. It's Jamie Keevil now that's taken over in the lead of the race on the road. And I think Ross Drew moving up to second place.
Yep, so the tyre change for Ross Board has almost been completed. So again, he'll be back out and ready to go. As a few more now into the pit lane include the number 16 machine by the looks of it. Down the pit lane that comes, and also number 5, Doug Carter, is into the pits. For his pit stop, he doesn't really know where to go because the number 2 machine wants to get out and Doug Carter wants to get in. So he finally finds the place he needs to be. And is he on wet tyres as well? Yes, he is, because his slicks are standing by.
The RJ Motorsport team working overtime here, aren't they, to get these tyre changes done? I mean, yeah, it is now basically almost fully dry conditions, isn't it? Not quite. There's a little bit of a sheen on the tarmac in certain places. And we've got Charles Hall is over the line there. Here he comes. Here comes Hall over the line. And it's just ahead of Shane Stoney at this stage. So that's an interesting one, how that has panned out after the stops. But unsurprisingly, given Stoney's extra time in the pit. So it's Oliveira effectively in the lead of the race, as Jamie Keevil's now in the pit lane as well. Ross Drew, the only one yet to serve his stop. So it should be Oliveira leading from Hall and Stoney when they come back out. So it'll be interesting to see if Stoney can catch and pass Hall in the second half of the race. He's about 2.7 seconds behind.
Yeah, but Shane Stoney's times now have dropped down to the 51, so he's about a couple of seconds off the pace with what his problem is. Jamie Keevil waving the team out of the way because he wants to get back into this race as soon as possible. Now he's told to go, so he'll rejoin behind Charles Hall and Shane Stoney as he gets back onto the circuit. Not far behind, though, actually. So I think Jamie Keevil is going to be a man who will potentially catch up with Shane Stoney and try and make a move. But as it stands, we've only got, I think, 2 that haven't pitted, one of those being out front at the minute, which is 117 Ross Drew.
Yeah, and the other one is Dominic Langdon, Dan, who's just had the signal from his pit crew that he should come in at the end of the lap. So this is effectively going to be the leader. There is Ross Drew going into the pits in number 117. So he will relinquish the lead to then Oliveira, who crosses the line now. Morel is nearly a lap behind Oliveira now. So he's just turning his way through Paddock Hill Bend, probably about 100 yards in front of Oliveira as things stand. But he is still at least on the leading lap. You've got Charles Hall getting past a back marker. and you've got Shane Stoney catching him on that lap. He was nearly 2 seconds faster, so Shane Stoney now nearly second behind Charles Hall. So watching Ross Drew in the pit lane, possibly we can pick up on the battle that's about to head down into Graham Hill Bend, because that is where you've got Shane Stoney closing on Charles Hall for second place, which is keeping an eye out on that out of our commentary box window as well. Shane Stoney has now not got a back marker between himself and Charles Hall, as they are turning their way through clearways and towards Clark Curve, I can tell you. But Stoney continuing to eat into his advantage. Here they are on the screen now, those two. Over the line they are about to go, and you've got Steve Larkham unlapping himself, as it were, from Shane Stoney as well there, it seems. So Stoney, as we know, in the straight line is not enjoying things at the moment.
No, but through Paddock Hill Bend, he's absolutely flying. He goes to the outside now of Stephen Larkham, so that will be that one ticked off again in terms of a lap back down. But Shane Stoney's kind of working around the problem now and again, isn't he? But then it just kind of gets a little bit worse at certain occasions. So Shane Stoney is pushing on to try and catch up with Charles Hall. The gap stands at just shy of 2 seconds on the previous lap, but it might be a little bit less on this occasion as they blast their way in towards McLaren and Clearways. But Pedro Oliveira is looking like he's going to do a Shane Stoney in this race, isn't it? Because the gap now up to about 9 seconds between him and Charles Hall, who goes through across the line now, and the gap back to Shane Stoney is going to be, I think, an increased margin, 3 seconds. One of the reasons is because Charles Hall has just gone and done the quickest lap of the race.
He certainly has. Tom Cockrell's leading Class B, by the way. Leon Morel with that long pit stop to change tyres, obviously dropped back behind him. We think that Cockrell might be on wets. Now, the gap between them is 12 seconds. And in terms of lap times, Cockrell just at a 49.0, Morel 48.7, so it's still actually pretty marginal in terms of the lap times, but I think it's only going to come towards Morel and those on slicks in the final few laps of this race.
Yeah, Tom Cockrell has just gone and done that lap, which is his personal best, isn't it? So whatever is on, it seems to be working for him for the time being, although he is slightly slower than Leon Morel, not by a huge margin, so there's still a bit of a gap there for Leon to try and close down in the number 1 machine. And yet again, Tom Cockrell is searching, by the looks of it, for the wet part of the track. So this number 59 machine is just going offline at certain parts of the circuit. He tries to work his way round the outside there of Laura Farrow, which he does, so that is just a slight delay, but on his way he goes once again, does Tom Cockrell in this Class B lead. 5th place overall as well for him, with now what's going to be 8 minutes left on the clock.
Yep, 8 minutes, so probably about 10 laps or so that they will get out of that, because the fastest lap of the race for Charles Hall now in the low 47s, 47.297. Leon Morel's just gone across the line as well, but obviously he is some way behind as Charles Hall. He has, on that lap, not gained any time on Oliveira's. Gap still just about 9 seconds between first and second. Stoney now 5 seconds behind Hall in third position, and Jamie Keeville is 4th. He's just a personal best lap actually there, 47.793.
And he is right onto the tail of Shane Stoney. A bit of a lock-up in towards Druids as he works his way past the traffic as well of Ross Drew. The man from Nottingham is now disposed of 1 position in terms of another lap down for him. But in terms of this fight, this is the closest we have in the race, and it's quite a pivotal one, because it will be for the final step on the podium as well. So Jamie Keeville came out a few seconds behind Shane Stoney, but all of a sudden has started to reel that car in, and you can just hear the sound of Shane Stoney's car not sounding as good as it should do. So Jamie Keeville in a straight line should be able to get the job done, which he does. He blasts through on the inside in towards Paddock Hill Bend, and Jamie Keeville now onto that podium in 3rd place. Yeah,
so Shane Stoney really suffering in these dry conditions, isn't he? Just not able to drive around the problem as he did to the same extent in race 1 on the damp or wet circuit as it was at that particular point, but he's still, just trying to do as best he can, isn't he? Not giving up and not wanting to let Jamie Keeville get away, but he certainly will do on the faster parts of the circuit, I think. Cockrell and Morel, they are how far apart now? They are 7.8 seconds apart, so another 0.8 gained by Leon Morel in the battle for the Class B lead there. Still nearly 8 seconds between them, though, as I say, and now only 6 minutes of the race left to go.
Yep, so Pedro Oliveira looking really good at this stage within the race as he works his way through for another time. And Pedro getting better and better within this championship this season. Got his first podium earlier on as Charles Hall gives a wave to Doug Carter. Just to say thank you for abiding by the blue flags and letting me through quite easily to not be delayed in the process. But Charles Hall might have to just be careful because Jamie Keevil, who is 4 seconds back, was quicker by over a second on that last lap. So Jamie Keevil is coming here, and Charles Hall's place in second position is not quite cemented, I don't think. But let's see what they both do at the end of this one. But the gap is definitely, by the looks of it, coming down.
With 5.25 minutes of the race left to go, Oliveira it is then that leads the way. In car number 57, the gap 12.0 seconds between those two. A slow last lap from Charles Hall, above 50 seconds for the first time in a little while. There is Hall now, and yep, he's got Keevil chasing after him. Keevil was 2.5 seconds faster on that last lap. The gap between them down to 1.6 seconds. So fight very much on for second place here. Of course, there's the traffic involved as well, and that traffic's helping Shane Stoney to stay in contention as well. He could still get a podium position out of this. In fact, he's going to get back into third place up on the inside into Surtees. He's done that. That was a very opportunistic move from Shane Stoney. He's gone back to third, so it's now him that's chasing after Charles Hall and possibly looking to try and get second place again out of this race. It's a very topsy-turvy race, this.
Strange, isn't it? Because it seems like a couple of laps Shane Stoney doesn't have the power, then it all of a sudden comes back to him. And of course, we know he struggles in a straight line, but then through the corner, Shane Stoney is pretty rapid once again. But Jamie Keevil has gone back ahead. Of course, this fighting will not help them close the gap to Charles Hall, who is now back to 2.5 seconds down the road. So second, third and fourth all still up for grabs. But if Jamie Keevil gets the traffic in his favour, he should be good to get the place away from Charles Hall, and Charles will be trying to will this race on to the conclusion as quick as possible. And Charles Hall has a problem now. He slows down through the Cooper Straight, he pulls straight off the circuit in through the back door. So what was a fight for second place is now a fight for second, but just with the two cars.
Yeah, and I kind of imagined that all was not quite well with Charles Hall's car there, so he pulled off into the pit lane. So it means we've got an interesting fight with Jamie Keevil and Shane Stoney. One of the interesting things about it, of course, is that Jamie Keevil is quick on the straight. So if you can get the power down nicely coming out of Clark Curve on the final lap, whatever Shane Stoney can do, Jamie Keevil should be able to win this. There's probably going to be 4 more laps to go, including the one that they've just started, I reckon. Yeah,
Shane Stoney kind of needs a buffer, doesn't he, as he heads round through Clearways and Clark Curve of maybe over a second, but he needs to get ahead of Jamie Keevil first to be able to do that. So, yeah, good fight here for second. Pedro, by the way, still leads out front by a very healthy margin of about 15 seconds now as he continues to push on.
And the Class B leaders are together as well now, Cockrell and Morel. We've not got this on camera, but they're going up towards Druid side by side, and it's Morel on the inside line. There they are, and Morel is going to go through to take the Class B lead. And of course, you know, he only needed a few points to wrap up the championship, but it would be very nice for him to go out with a win in Class B, and a nice move there made on the way up to Druids.
Yeah, a bit of a risk, wasn't it, before this race to go for wet tyres, because that could have really backfired for him, but luckily it was a race where he decided to do that. It was a pit stop race, so he was able to then change to the slicks. It lost him more time in the pit lane, but he has been able to charge his way back through, has the Class B leader now, Leon Morel, so he's on his way ahead of Tom Cockrell. That'll take him to 4th place overall within this race as well. Just to look at the gap between Pedro Oliveira and Jamie Keevil, did come down by about 3 seconds over that last lap. I don't think it's anything major to worry about.
Another slow lap there from Oliveira there, 52-second lap. So the gap from Oliveira to Keevil, it might be something to worry about, you know, is down to 8 seconds. And I reckon they've probably got, they might even have 3 laps to go here still. And that's 2 slow laps in a row for Oliveira, isn't it?
It is, yeah, both 50 and 52, and Shane Stoney has just gone and done the quickest lap of the race, which is really surprising with a car which is suffering, but Shane Stoney somehow still can manage to deliver the lap times that he needs to do. So he is still on the back of Jamie Keevil in 2nd place. Pedro works his way now through Surtees and McLaren, and you're right, he will have 2 more laps to do because we have just less than 90 seconds left on the clock. This one is not over.
It's certainly not, and let's see what lap time it is from Pedro Oliveira. This time he's got 8 seconds in hand over Keevil and Stoney. He's up to the line, he's over the line again, and that lap is a 50.101. What can Keevil do? He does a 47.050, who does the best lap of the race, and the gap is down to less than 5 seconds with 2 laps to go.
This is very much on then, so he's taken about 2.5 seconds per lap. If he does that for the next 2 laps, it is 5 seconds, and that exactly is what the gap is at the minute. So we have the race on here for Pedro Oliveira and Jamie Keevil, who has continued to chase down not just Pedro but Shane Stoney. He's chased down as well the likes of Leon Morel. He's done a tremendous job of getting himself through the pack, and I don't think they've got too much traffic to worry about at the minute, but it is starting to come as it works its way onto the start finish line. We've got what's going to be 30 seconds left on the clock, and Pedro Oliveira is going to come through, but is the gap going to be within reaching distance of Jamie Keevil?
Last lap board goes out then, and the gap was 4.979 seconds. It is now 3.097. Another best lap of the race for Keevil, a 46.896, but Oliveira's back into the 48s as well, so it might just be a bridge too far, I reckon, this for Jamie Keevil.
Yep, it will be decided on this lap as the back marker tries to stay out the way, which it just about does for Jamie Keevil, so he gets through without too much delay. I think Shane Stoney is too far back to do anything for our second place man as he works his way for the final time down towards Graham Hill Bend. But Pedro Oliveira is looking good. Maybe he's just been told to do the hurry up and get back to your lap times, because someone is catching you very quickly from behind.
So through Clearways he comes now towards Clark Curve for the final time. Pedro Oliveira's lead was well into double-figure number of seconds not so very long ago, but he's going to come up to the line now and take the checker flag and win for the first time in the Radical Bike Sports Championship, and it does it in a Mattel as well. Keevil is in second place, Stoney is third. The gap first to second in the end was 1.8 seconds, another 2.8 seconds back to Shane Stoney in third, and we're waiting then for Leon Morel to come through. He's just heading into Surtees for the final time now. So over the line goes Stephen Larkham. He is going to take 6th place. Very good result from him. He's had a win earlier on in the season. Ross Drew is 7th. And then the rest of the finishers in the minor places coming through. But here is Leon Morel up to the line. Over the line he comes, and he wins Class B. And that will be the championship now, with victory in Class B in the second race of the day for the Radical Bike Sports Championship from Tom Cockrell, second in that class. A dramatic way to end today's racing, Matt. Some final thoughts from you.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant day. We had a lot of rain to deal with this morning. Things have dried out, an almost completely dry circuit now, which is brilliant, but the racing, as ever, has been top-notch. Good to see everything's got through without too many delays, and it's been great to be back with the 750 Motor Club, and I look forward to being back at Donington for the final few meetings of the year.
Yeah, we certainly look forward to seeing you there in October, Matt. Thank you very much indeed for your company and your commentary during the course of the day. Just before we look at the results, just a quick thank you to all of the marshals who've done such sterling work today here at Brands Hatch. Many, many thanks for all of your help in some pretty horrible conditions throughout the course of the day. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you so much to you and all of the other people who work so hard behind the scenes to put on these 750 Motor Club race meetings. It's so appreciated. Let's have a look at the results then of that final race of the day, the Radical Bike Sports Championship. It was a win, a first win in bike sports for number 57 Pedro Oliveira in the Mattel MC41R. He completed 30 laps in the 25-minute duration, and he finished 1.791 seconds ahead of number 19 Jamie Keevil in second place. Third to number 89 Shane Stoney. Fourth was number 1 Leon Morel, importantly winning Class B. That will surely now wrap up the championship for him. And fifth was number 59 Tom Cockrell, the last finisher on the lead laps. Stephen Larkham was 6th, Ross Drew 7th, Andrew Fido 8th, Doug Carter 9th, Andrew Gord rounded out the top 10 ahead of Ross Board, Laura Farrow and Dominic Langton down with Charles Hall, a retirement sadly, when he was going pretty well inside the podium positions in the later stages of the race. So that brings to an end this 750 Motor Club racing from Brands Hatch here this weekend. Don't forget, here at Brands Hatch tomorrow, CSCC, they're here on Sunday and Monday. 750 Motor Club back in action at Alton Park in September and at Croft as well. We'll have the live stream though from Alton. We'll talk to you from there. But for now, from Matt Suckling and myself, Ian Soden in the comment box, we'll say goodnight and we'll leave you in the company of Josh Barrett.
So we're down in the Brands Hatch pit lane for one last time, and first time winner. Well done to Pedro Oliveira. Pedro, you got past Shane. Tell us how you did that.
Yeah, it was a pretty tricky start. I managed to I just stuck in right behind him was the plan. Yeah, I was planning just follow him through the rest of the race and then try and get him in the end. And I managed to get him down into turn 1, and I think I pulled a little gap. It was a tricky race because towards the end I started having a few more issues with the gears where I couldn't downshift. So for a few laps I was stuck in 5th and stuck in 6th. But in the end, I managed to secure the win.
Did you know how close the others were getting on those last few laps?
Yeah, I could see him. When I was coming down out of the hairpin, I could see them going into turn 1. And then I saw him, one of the laps, he just disappeared. So I knew that he was getting closer. And then on the last lap, I could see him in my mirrors. So I knew that they were getting there. I think a few more laps, they might have got me.
You've obviously not been racing for that long. Tell us a bit about your background in motorsport.
Yeah, so I've been racing in karting since I was young. This is my first year in these cars. This is my 3rd meeting, but my 2nd actual race because I had an issue at Silverstone. But yeah, this is my first overall win.
And you must be very pleased.
Yeah, I'm very happy, yeah.
Well done. So our first time race winner to end the day. Let's have a word with our other drivers down here. We've got Jamie Keevil, who is in 2nd place. So we'll grab a word. Jamie, if we can.
Oh, hello.
2nd place overall and not that far away from the race win as well.
Yeah, I saw him getting closer to me, but I assume he was lifting off. Yeah, no, good race.
He said he had a problem.
Oh, did he? Oh, well, shame there weren't more laps then. Yeah, good weekend. Obviously, got some dry running, which was unexpected. We didn't do any testing yesterday, so that's kind of a bit of a jump in and into the deep end type thing. But yeah, car was good, really nicely balanced. Had a good fight with Shane, although obviously he had a problem, so flattered probably me a bit more than what it should have done. Yeah, good race, no mistakes, happy with that. No.
You like getting quicker and quicker in the car each time out?
Yeah, exactly. As I say, well, we didn't do any testing on Friday, so it was kind of like, you know, first lap in the race was like first lap on slick, so you're kind of trying to get your bearings of where you are. And clearways is still really, really slippery, but then the rest of the circuit's kind of bone dry, so it's a bit of an exploratory first couple of laps. But then, yeah, once you get your confidence in, then it's mega, yeah.
I think you raced in a LAN in the past, so this must be so different.
Yeah, a little bit different. I was saying to my old man, like, when he, because you got wing on this, you don't. I mean, the Elan on brands, it'll shoot you off at 120 mile an hour because there's no, you know, in the wet because there's no downforce. Whereas with this, you know, once you kind of get into 4th gear, it's all right because you've got the wings. So, yeah, different experience, but good.
Sounds like you're enjoying it.
Yeah, great time. Yeah, it was really good. Thanks.
Well done. Let's have a word with Shane. Looks like the same problem, Shane.
It started on the rolling lap. I didn't even get to the start, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. So, yeah, I was basically driving around for 25 minutes, just sort of bobbing my head up and down and waiting for something. It's a shame because the car felt really good. I got a good start, and yeah, I tried to hang on as long as I could, and I nearly parked it, to be honest. But we were second, comfortable second, and then I knew we were going to lose out in the pit stop a bit, but we came out third, fourth. We tried to hang on, but yeah, it just one of those days. Unfortunately, it's a shame. The car felt really good. I think, we were losing 2-3 seconds a lap, so easily. So I think we'd have been.
You lapped the field probably.
Maybe not that, but I think we'd have had that, and that's it's frustrating because it's not the fact that we're not here to win, but it's more the fact I didn't even get any joy out of driving. I'd come here to have fun, and I didn't even get any joy out of driving. It's not entertaining driving a car like that for 25 minutes. So it's just one of those, unfortunately. But never mind.
In the next few weeks, you'll find out what on earth was going on with the car, I guess.
Yeah, I think. Well, we think we know what the issue is, and we thought we'd fixed what the issue was. But obviously we haven't. Yeah. So we know I think it's a crank sensor or something that's got an issue. But we thought we'd found the problem. Obviously we haven't. So now we're going to have to it might even be an engine out job and get all the wiring loom off and find there'll be something somewhere that is been caught or trapped, or it'd be some little thing. Yeah. But it's just not been my year, has it?
I guess you hope to come to Donington and win those races.
We'll give it a go. It'd be nice if we can just have a race where I don't have an issue. I don't think I've had a race all year where I've not had some kind of issue. So, yeah, disappointing, but never mind.
Yeah, but well driven regardless. Yes. Let's go and have a word with our Class B winner, which was Leon Morel. And Leon, we think the champion again. Well done, Leon. That race was probably more difficult than you hoped for.
Yeah, I made that really hard for myself, didn't I? When we was in the garage, we'd got 15 minutes to go with the Formula Vs, and we looked out and it looked pretty shiny and still fairly wet. So I was like, let's not take no risks, let's just throw the wets on and just bring it home. My mate Tommy was racing a little PR6, he went on wets as well, and it just dried, didn't it? It just dried, and a lot quicker than I thought. So yeah, not ideal, but when you've got a good team of lads behind you and a good team with RJ Motorsport as backup, sound. Coming to the pits, give them a signal as I was coming past the pit wall, and wasn't quite Formula 1 grade stop, but to change tyres and get back out and get back to class lead, pretty decent. So
I think you only lost 20 seconds in the pit stops. So that's pretty good going with obviously not many people being able to work on the car.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it probably was still quicker if I'd have stayed on the wets. Yeah. But got to try these things, spice it up. And I think Tom was getting a bit excited because I was closing him in. I'm thinking he's going to be really enjoying this. But I think I got such an advantage coming onto the straight, getting on the power. He was sideways halfway around the corner. He couldn't do a lot about it. So yeah, fair play. He's had a good race and we've had a good meeting. So nice to wrap it up, 1 round to go, and we can go to Donington and get stuck in now, can't we?
Can't get an overall win there.
Yeah, let's go send it.
Well done this season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the coverage as well.
So there we go. That completes our 750 Motor Club race meeting at Brands Hatch with a full day of slippery, sliding racing, but some great racing as well. 750 Motor Club's got a small break before we go racing again in 4 weeks' time, and that will be on 750 Motor Club TV and Alpha Live. So make sure you're subscribed to the channels to get notified and follow all the social media and things on the website as well. But we'll see you next time. We hope you've enjoyed the racing this weekend from Brands Hatch.